Planning your Saturday night can be a bit of a bitch. How about we make rock, not war? Load up Toxic Radio every Saturday night for the Heavy Metal Happy Hour with the one and only Fishman.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
There will be interviews, ticket giveaways, a little bit of banter with Toxic Mike, and of course great metal from the 80s all the way through today. Starts at 7 p.m., runs until Fish says it's over.
Get out.
Catch it only on Toxic Radio. Don't play it safe. Play it toxic. Hey guys, dating life gone pretty shitty?
I find you so creepy I think you should have to walk around with a bell around your neck.
Finding yourself getting a little desperate for some female companionship?
Alexa, tell me you love me.
Hell no. You disgust me.
What you need is to upgrade your style right now. The Toxic Store's got exactly what you need. Pick up some stylish gear featuring Deviant Gamer, Toxic Radio, and the Heavy Metal Happy Hour.
Oh, yeah!
You can find the store through the Toxic Radio app or toxicradio.net. Get in the game.
Do I make you horny, baby?
Get yourself a little love.
That guy's getting boobies. Yeah, he is.
Toxic Radio and the Toxic Store. Don't buy it safe. Buy it toxic. All sports talk shows are the same, right?
I am bothered by everything.
You gotta go back to football school.
The goal of this guy, it's just immeasurable.
Wrong. In a world filled with talking heads more interested in their own celebrity than actually knowing the sports world, it's hard to find the people who really care about sports first. Look no further. Wire to Wire has it all covered. These guys have the knowledge and the cred to back up their opinions. No hot takes to get attention, just straight up opinions. Know anyone else who correctly called the 2020 World Series and March Madness? How about 70% on the NFL and NCAA football last year? You don't. Bottom line, these guys know their shit. They aren't doing it for attention, they're doing it for passion. Wire to Wire, live every Wednesday, 8:30 Eastern, only on Toxic Radio and wherever you find podcasts.
Hungry for Hope Nation, your host here, Donnie Hart, and I'm live from the Toxic Radio studio. Today, I have an amazing guest joining me. I forgot to ask her how to say her last name, so I'm probably going to get it wrong, but that's just that's the point. So I'm going to say Angela, and you say the last name. Our guest is Angela
Melchiorre.
Melchiorre. She didn't say it in the mic. Put the mic, Angela.
You didn't tell me to put on the mic. There we go. There we go. Now we're good. We're cooking.
So Angela's there. Scoot over to me, little Ange. There you go. Other way. So we are joined. There you go.
We'll get it right.
Got perfect up there. So we have Angela how do you say?
Melchiorre.
Melchiorre. We'll
just stick with Angela.
I don't do words, but I do podcasts pretty good, fortunately. And you're going to be the one doing most of the inspiration here because you have a story that's amazing. I've come across your story. You're local. We have a lot of friends in common. You're 39 years old. You're a CrossFit coach and athlete. Yes. And you're in your second battle with cancer. This time, lung cancer.
Yes.
You're somebody with a remarkable background. Your background deals with a lot of stuff. This show deals with your mental health. You have your master's. Yes. You work with people in mental health, people struggling with a lot of stuff. A lot of people we've had on the show have struggled with a lot of the stuff you deal with. And you're also right now, at 39, already on your second battle. And you just got done your third treatment of chemotherapy. And you're going on to your fourth.
Yes.
And
March 8th.
And now I'm going to give you the mic, Ange. So you got 2019 for everybody, is listening. That's when you first got your first diagnosis of cancer. It wasn't the lung cancer.
No. So in 2019, I was 37 years old. I was diagnosed with cervical cancer. So we were treated at Penn Medicine in Philadelphia. Great people. Thank you For anyone listening that's working for Penn or getting treatment from Penn, 37 years old, had a hysterectomy. So, Penn was really concerned because I was super young, and there goes your chance of actually being able to carry children. But once the hysterectomy was done, they said I was clear to go, didn't need any chemotherapy. We were just going to do some 6-month testing and call it a day. So come 2021, actually November, less than 3 months ago, I got diagnosed with a completely different type of cancer. It's like, I'm like the guy who got hit by lightning twice.
So 2019, you get the cancer, and then the pandemic happens.
Yeah.
And then 2021, you find out you have lung cancer.
Yes,
and,
stage 4.
And now, I just want to, where were you before 2019? I want to hear about the Angela before you began this courageous battle you're on. Tell us a little, I know you were doing the CrossFit, you're working the mental health. Tell us something about the person you were before you, leading up to 2019, before you got this devastating news. You're 37 years old, South Jersey girl.
Yeah, oh yeah, Jersey girl, you gotta love it. I was working full time and going to graduate school full time so I can get my master's. And that was enough. That kept me busy enough to, work full time, do an 8-hour shift, drive all the way from New Jersey, Hamilton, New Jersey, all the way to Pennsylvania. I went to LaSalle for my grad school to get my master's. So that kept me busy for a long, long time.
Long time.
Long, expensive time, yes.
And you were doing the CrossFit. Shout out to Lauren Janae. I was telling you about her. I just talked to her, CrossFit co-founder, amazing guest, amazing person. Shout out to her and Ty.
CrossFit fan.
You told me you're like, you'll never. So I was like, do we ever go to the gym together? You're like, you'll never find me in a regular gym. And I was like, you'll never find me in a CrossFit gym.
No. To each his own. Yeah, I can't be in a regular gym. I will touch things and judge people. I have to be yelled at. Yes. Yeah.
So you're in this CrossFit. So you had this before you had these medical problems. You were in amazing condition. You competed in this.
So I would never compete. I regret that now with my diagnosis. I was more of I did really well at Spartan races, Tough Mudders. Yeah. That was where my passion was. I didn't want to compete. I coach, but Spartan races was my jam.
Now, did you ever do the one? Where's the ones where they like drink the beer while they're doing it?
Oh, so
what is that? Tell me about that.
So I know with our gym, CrossFit Adversary, just giving a shout out. That's the
shout out.
Best gym in South Jersey. You will not find better people. You will not find better rates.
The owner can just send the check for the advertising to Hungry for Hope. Venmo.
Yes. But we have what we call the beer mile. So you chug a beer. You run a mile.
Sounds like my life.
It's everyone's life since the pandemic, maybe, right?
What happened was, but so you did one of them, but there's still a good competition. But I was just, you were somebody who was in great shape. Me and you were actually talking. You were in this, like, you dedicated your life to this fitness and just being in tip-top shape. And then 2019 comes around, you're 37 years old in this peak physical condition, and then you get told that you have cancer.
Yeah, so I gotta rewind first. My peak condition didn't really come until, I want to say, 2 years ago. So in 2019, I was still doing CrossFit, but I wasn't that serious about CrossFit. Now, not many people know this about me. I haven't really made it public on Facebook, but before my hysterectomy, I had gotten pregnant. That was 2017. I was pregnant. And on July 25th, 2017, the day after my birthday, I went for an ultrasound, was told that unfortunately there is no heartbeat. So, you have two options there. You have to either naturally abort, and if you can't do that in 10 days, then you go in for a D&E. So unfortunately, I was a ticking time bomb going to work. You never know when it's going to hit. So long story short, had a D&E. So my body was so confused between 2017 and 2019 because of the hormones, and you were pregnant for about 3 months, and then you're not pregnant. When I was pregnant, I was eating blocks of cheese because that's what I craved, just blocks of cheese.
I'm a huge cheesehead.
I'm telling you, look, you should have brought the cheese today because we can be sitting here enjoying some cheese.
Jamie, get on that. I'm get the producer to take care of it.
Can we get someone to
go to the store
or some Doritos or something?
I can produce this show.
Yeah.
But it's 2017. We've had people on this show. I had friends who went through this. It's such a traumatic experience. I knew, but I don't think I really realized it until I started doing the show and talking to some dear friends I really love, and the trauma of losing a child like that before it's born, and it's just something. You deal with mental health, but I'm sure that was something traumatic for you to deal with.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing that. It takes a lot of strength.
Yeah, so now a lot of people know. I didn't know I was going to share that, but there we are. So 2017, you have a miscarriage, and you have to have an operation in order to get that corrected. 2019, you're told after the miscarriage that you have cervical cancer, so you have a hysterectomy. So there goes my chances of naturally giving birth to a child. I can still be a mother, obviously, because there's other alternatives, but I couldn't naturally carry a child to term. Now, fast forward to 2022, and we have a whole different cancer scenario, completely different.
So would you say, you went through that, you found out this traumatic news, 2017, then you got 2019 cancer, and you said you started really, doing, you hitting that peak fitness a little after that, and then 2021, you get the lung cancer. How did that feel? Because I'm sure it kind of felt like you're back on, you went through some rough patches, and you were really concentrated on you. You were in the gym hard. You were just in, like we said, that peak of physical fitness, and then you get this news. Like, I can never relate to cancer, but I got the phone call. I was the first one to get the phone call when my brother died, and I just remember that feeling. It's hard to describe, just finding out news like that. And how did that feel, if you don't mind sharing with these people getting that news? Because you already went through so much. You've been fighting. I'm sure you're telling yourself, you're fighting this good fight, and then such a traumatic curveball gets thrown at you. How did that feel, Angela?
Yeah, I often tell people if there wasn't something traumatic going on in my life, it wouldn't be my life. I wouldn't know what to do. It would, you don't realize something is so traumatic until you are able to think about it and to process it. And when you're sitting at a table full of people and you're telling your story, and you look around and everyone's jaws are wide open, you realize, oh, so this was really a bad experience. That's when you realize how traumatic it is. I'm more of a person, avoidance and denial. I'd rather avoid and deny and process it much, much later. In 2021, I was by myself in the ER when I received the news. Totally unexpected. I thought it was something completely different. So it's hard to get that news by yourself. And it's a constant roller coaster of emotions, constant.
So you were by yourself when you where were you? If you don't mind taking us through, you were in 2021, and were you at the hospital because you knew something was up? How did that experience getting such life-changing and traumatic?
So I didn't really have any symptoms, and people are shocked to hear that, because when I tell them where the cancer is and where it's metastasized, they're like, you had no symptoms. So I started having chest pains, just random chest pains. And automatically I thought, okay, well, we bench pressed not too long ago. I have a muscle strain. So I let it go. About a week and 3 days later, I'm like, 2 o'clock in the morning, I wake up, I feel like I'm having a heart attack. That's how bad the chest pain was. But it passed. So me being the person I am, I'm like, all right, it passed. I'm going to go back to bed. Wake up the next morning, clock into work, and I realized I should probably go to urgent care. And so I went to urgent care thinking they're going to do a chest x-ray, and we are going to find out it's a muscle strain, and they're going to send me home. It didn't happen that way.
This was 2021?
November 2021.
So you went to urgent care. You were having chest pains. You're somebody who just got done doing chest. Now, you thought it was something, we always tweak ourselves in the gym. So what happened when you went to urgent care, Angela?
I went to urgent care. I explained the pain I was feeling. They asked a couple of questions, and they said, well, we're not going to touch it. You need to go to the ER for what they call D-dimer test. And that's a test, that's a blood test that only the hospital can give you, as they say. And it tests for blood clots, cancers, things of that nature. And, it took my mom. I left urgent care really pissed off because I hate hospitals. I don't like being in them. And we are back in the peak of the second wave of the pandemic.
So you're going through this during COVID.
Yes.
Which me and you were talking about, that makes it that worse. And so your mom was there for you?
No, my mom was on the phone. My mom lives in Florida, and she's watching now. So hi, Mom, love you.
Hi, Mom.
Hi,
she
Mom.
loves you.
And she's like, you just have to go. So I went to the ER. They're doing their tests.
Where'd you go to the ER at?
So I went to Jefferson in Washington Township.
Yes.
Yep. So they do D-dimer, lab tests, chest x-rays, CAT scans. And, I'm irking to get out of there. I just want to be out. I want to be home. I have work to do. I want to be out. So
you probably were in the hospital a little back in 2019 and all that. So you're like, I'm sick of this,
I just don't like hospitals. So I don't like anything. I'm a caretaker. That's what I do for a living. Anything that has to do with me, it can be on the back burner. So long story short, I'm asked to go into a room where the doctor wants to speak to me, and I'm thinking, great, I'm being discharged. I'm going home. He comes in and says, I have some really good news, some really bad news. And I'm like, all right, well, hit me. He said, it's not a blood clot. And I'm like, okay, so that's the good news. It's going to be pneumonia, maybe, whatever. And he says, we found an extremely large mass in your right upper lung. And, we are really, you got lung cancer. And the first thing I said to him, I said, shut the fuck up. No way. Shut your mouth. Because that's the last thing I've been thinking. I'm thinking I bench pressed, I did a pull up, I pulled a muscle. Next thing you know, then now I'm crying. And I'm telling him, I'm like, so can you tell me how much longer I have to live? Because I got some sketchy stuff to do. And it's really important for me to know this, because I got some things on my list that I need to take care of.
Some hood rat shit to do.
Yes. I have people's houses to burn down, which.
Oh, man.
Yes. It's, I got some revenge stuff going on. And he was like, is there someone who I can call? Because you don't seem to be coping well. I said, this is just my personality. So, next thing you know, he calls my mom. Now we're both crying, and I tell her I'm sorry, and then I look at him. I said, I want my IV out. I want out. I'm ready to leave. Let me leave the hospital. And then after that, it was just, things moved so quickly. You hear of absolute sad stories of people waiting 4 months to see an oncologist, right? 4 months to see an oncologist. Me, that very next week. All tests, all doctor's appointments. It was
Now, did you
very
go
fast.
home? Did you stay in the hospital then?
No. You're not going to catch, even after my hysterectomy, I told them, because they wanted to keep me. I said, if you do not let me leave, you are going to see me on the news scaling the side of this building. Please, I am ready to go home. So you'll never see me stay overnight in a hospital. Never.
So you got this news. Like I said, I can never relate to getting that news, but I've had doctors tell me, when my brother died, so I know when you got home, were you calling friends? where were you at that point, Ange, if you don't mind
So,
sharing?
I mean, yeah, I cried a lot in the ER. So by the time I got out, your brain is racing. Obviously, you want to tell, your closest loved ones. You want to tell, your place of employment. I know I spoke to my boss. I spoke to some of my closest friends who are family. But your mind is in so many different areas from, okay, I got to set my alarm clock to get up for work tomorrow to, who am I going to leave my Gucci bag to in my will? So you're all over the place.
So the one thing that stood out to me, I think I shared this with you. I've gone through a lot of my worst days with humor, with laughter. I've noticed, you've posted a lot of stuff on Facebook. Some people look at like, what the hell? But it's your way of coping, and that's like something I love. Have you found that laughter and just because there's not much you can do. Tell us about how you've been able to cope with it using laughter and just that attitude. That's something I noticed about you that it's pretty kick-ass.
I have always been about humor. Always that sarcastic, sick sense of humor. There's no other way. So as soon as I got my chest X-ray, and you can see the mass, how huge it is, and the first thing I thought was, shit, Large Marge. Remember that on Pee-wee's Playhouse? Yeah. Tell him Large Marge saying, right? Yeah. I mean,
exactly what
she's that big. So that's my name for this mass, Large Marge. Yep. And then once I had my PET scan, my MRI, it started showing where the cancer was and all the other places in my body. So I said, well, Large Marge has some really unruly, unsupervised children, now doesn't she? And then not too long ago, as you probably saw on Facebook, I have to have portable oxygen, and I named him Hank the Tank.
Is that your Valentine's Day date?
No, Kim. So
I saw the Valentine.
Yes.
When you introduced your Valentine, something about
the special
make sure you don't
someone.
skip
legs. Yes. So the special someone.
You posted this on Facebook on Valentine's Day.
It is, yes.
From
getting chemo.
From getting chemo.
Yes. Hilarious. And I can't even tell you the twisted stuff. It just pops up into my head, and I'm like, this is perfect for Valentine's Day. I'm sitting here getting chemo, and you don't, having cancer, getting chemo, things of this nature, it's not like I'm on Tinder swiping away. You know what I mean? So I named him Kem. We have spent 2 months together. He is attached to my hip. You've really got to check out, for the listeners, people watching, if you haven't seen the video yet, it is on YouTube. Please check it out. It is
I'll share it.
hilarious.
I'll make sure I share it.
Yes.
And then you post other, it's not even funny, but you post what's that? The guy who does the Dos Equis. You're like, I don't always get a disease, but when I do, it's uncurable.
There is no cure.
Overachiever, you said.
Yes. Yep.
And we can laugh about this, but so many times we even use on this show laughter to get through some of the serious and traumatic stuff. But I feel like there's people out there who might be going through similar, maybe cancer, whatever, and they just can't find that laughter. And maybe watching you, because they know it's not like. They know what you're going through. You can't, and people know what lung cancer is. They know what chemotherapy, they know the devastation it can cause people. They know how traumatic it can be. So when they see you, somebody who's young, somebody who, you didn't ask for this. It's not like you did something wrong. You were healthy. When they see you, I just think that's why I think your story can be so powerful. I think people should hear it. They should see somebody like you with that positive. For you to have this storm around you, and for you to stay so positive and upbeat and find laughter, I think it could be so life or death for other people who are in some dark time.
Yeah. And I think, not only that, so people really, as my boss would say, I know she's listening, so I'll give a shout out to her. It's hard for people to become comfortable with the uncomfortable, right? Because what do you say to someone with this kind of cancer when you're told, the goal is we get you 2 years? If no chemo and you decide not to do chemo for life, you got a couple months, you know? And then people look at me and they're like, you don't look sick. Well, thank you. So, but, you know, come check me out 2 days after chemo, right? Just because I don't look sick doesn't mean there's something not wrong. But on Hank the Tank, I have a sticker and it says, but did you die? And some people appreciate this kind of humor, and I'll be walking around in Target, you know, and people are like, look at this chick. And right big on Hank is, but did you die? And I think it's funny. It's important for me and it's important for other people because it's really hard to talk about these things, right? And for instance, one of my friends from CrossFit, there was a gathering, and she comes up to me and she says, and she's going to know, she's watching, she's going to know who she is. So she came up to me and she said, I have something for you. And I'm like, okay. She's like, when it's something you can take with you. And I said, to heaven? And she looked at me like completely aghast, and I'm like, I'm just kidding. So like, you have to, because it's really uncomfortable for people. So if you have that icebreaker and it's all funny, because I'm not going to crawl into a ball and you know, it is what it is, and I am going to just be me all the way until the end. I can't stop.
Yeah, because I feel for like a lot of people, you know, even like when you deal with any kind of bad experience, somebody dying or something, some people, they just look at you and they feel, you can just tell they're like, oh man, like poor that person, and they don't know how to handle it, they don't know how to react, they don't know what to say to you, they don't know if they want to laugh, they don't know if, you know, they don't think humor is the right thing. So by you kind of breaking the ice, I think it opens up other people to understanding your situation more, to understanding, you know, regardless if you get cancer, curable or not, whatever they tell you, it doesn't mean you can't lose your smile, your positive energy, your hope.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's just like funerals. As human nature, people have a hard time saying the right things, you know, like funerals are my favorite thing to poke fun at because, you know, it's, oh, he's in such a better place. Is he, Susan? Is he in a better place? How do you not know he's losing game after game of dominoes to the devil right now? Maybe he's not having fun, Susan.
Devil has a hell of a dominoes game.
I'm telling you, he's got skills. So, but insensitive comments, you know,
Yeah.
and
and you're somebody going
comments.
through something, like you said,
Yes.
something that is meant to kill you. Something you're saying 2 years without chemo months, and you're 39 years old, you were in peak fitness, and for you to have this energy, why do you think you're able to have this outlook when so many others would be defeated and not be able to smile? You're going through something that you know can kill you. How are you able to be so positive, Angela? Because I think it's amazing.
Well, thank you. That, for those who know me and have known me for a while, this is probably the first time in my life I have been this positive about something. I really consider myself a pessimist versus an optimist, or what I like to call a realist, because it just sounds so much nicer. It's hard to kind of pinpoint when, you know, you just kind of pick up, and I think I thrive off of other people's discomfort, and I thrive off other people's insensitive comments, because they don't really know it's insensitive. Like, there's a slew of things that make me agitated that people have said to me and continue to say to me since my diagnosis. But, you know, I consider myself a jokester. I find myself extremely funny, and if you can't joke about it and be about it, then I'm not sure what else there is left.
So just you know, we have a lot of supporters and people commenting. We have Rick Walker. He says, I've been putting off going back to the gym for a long time. When I saw Ange working out with what she's going through, I swore to myself, no more excuses. Thank you, Ange.
Rick Walker, thank you, sir.
But, you know, you probably don't even know sometimes the effect you're having on people. You don't know what people are going through. And like we were saying, everybody's going through a storm. It don't have to be cancer. it can be anything, and they just might, life beats people up. It knocks us down, and we lose hope sometimes, and that's just the worst place, because without hope, man, it's just a bad place to be in. So when somebody sees this little fireball, the energy and a smile, and they know, like, you're supposed to, like, everybody knows what lung cancer is. Everybody knows what chemotherapy is. It's not like some, you don't have to be that smart. You don't have to be that educated, that old, young, whatever, to know what lung cancer is, the effects it has. A lot of people have seen family members probably deal with it. They know people, and they know that's not how people usually act. And to see that, like, I'm sure there's so many other people like Rick that are doing that same thing. How does that feel that you're somebody going through this, but you have people like Rick, that this 39-year-old who's fighting this battle she shouldn't be fighting, can have effect on people to change their life? How does that feel, Angela?
It's surreal, and I really am speechless, just like I am speechless with the amount of support and care that I've received. I mean, I'm talking about people I haven't seen or talked to in 20 years. You're just picking up where you left off, like, hey, I'm here. But then I also get those messages from people who are like, hey, Ange, I'm sorry to hear what's happening to you, but do you remember that time in grade school, elementary school, 6th grade, when you purposely pushed me up against the gym locker door and really hurt me? And I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not sure what else I'm sorry. No, it's all good, because you really taught me to be tougher. And I'm like, okay, so I guess my bullying had an inspirational ending too.
It's a hell of an inspirational story you're sharing, Angela. But through your battle, you've had people come, that might have not ever come back and reconnect with you.
It's hard for me to talk about without tearing up, and I'm not going to ugly
We
cry.
got tissues.
No, I'm a really
and the
ugly
audio
crier.
version has no video.
I won't do it.
We've cried on these microphones. Sometimes when you're talking this powerful stuff, sometimes you just let the tears go. We have a lot of people sending positive. Tamara Hayes Bass is over here crying, Angela. Angela, our buddy Inky, love the positivity and personality. I wish you all the best, Angela. These are people, November is when you got the lung cancer, November?
My diagnosis in November. My first chemo treatment was January 5th, because there's a slew of testing and appointments you have to do.
January 5th. So, I know this is still not that long, but what do you wish you knew back in November that you know now, Angela? Is there one thing that comes out?
I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't take back my diagnosis. I wouldn't, because it really has changed me to be such a better person, to understand what it's like to appreciate and be thankful for the small things. And I think sometimes we have these lessons in life to remind us of that, and we are always asking ourselves, why am I here? What is my purpose here? And I feel like I'm being shown my purpose, and this is going to be my opportunity. And I just want to make people laugh, and I just want to crack jokes, and for someone to say, you know what, she's pretty damn funny. So, but at the end of the day, I am not the only person who is struggling with this cancer, going through chemotherapy. There's so many people who refuse to curl up in a ball. That's just not my personality.
Yeah, you say what you're saying, like, I could relate going through the hard time. And unfortunately, in the beginning, when I lost my brother and I basically lost everything in my life, I just kept on saying, like, why? I thought I was a good guy. Like, why am I going through this? It's not fair. Why? And then, somebody, Susan Pastor, the savior in my life, one of the most amazing people, basically a stranger who reached out to me. She started telling me, like, and it didn't make sense first, but then it slowly started to make sense. She's like, maybe you're going through this because there's somebody else on earth who's going to have something similar and they can't make it through it, and they need to see you. they need to see you to make it through what they're going to go through, because somebody bigger than us knows you're so strong enough that you can take on this. You're the greatest soldier for the biggest battle, and I feel like that's what you're going through, Angela. Somebody knows, unfortunately, that you can handle this, that you can inspire people, and there's other people who might not be as strong as you, but they need you. They need to see your story. They need to see your hope. They need to see your goofy little memes and your laughter and your Valentine's Day jokes, and they need to see that stuff to make it through whatever they're going through.
Well, wait till you see what I have planned for my 4th round of chemo. I'm not going to give it away. You're going to have to tune in for it. I already have it planned in my head. Now I got to up the ante from the Valentine's Day video. But I just because people see me being, joking and laughing and cracking jokes and memes and things, it doesn't mean I don't have my moments. Oh, I have my moments. I have to have my moments. The difference with having a moment is, I'll physically set my alarm clock and I allow myself 7 minutes of a moment. Once that 7 minutes is up, I am standing, I wipe my face, and I'm refocusing my efforts elsewhere. You can't have these kinds of test results, what the doctors are saying. You can't have this without having those moments, and it's really difficult. You'll be driving in a car, and next thing you know, you think of something like your will or your obituary, or a song comes on and you can't help to have a moment. You have to have those moments, and then you pick yourself back up.
Have you had people there for you? Anybody specific you would like to give a shout out to? Somebody who maybe you're feeling down, that's picked you up or helped you out during these times? Or
Yes, CrossFit Adversary, the entire gym, my entire gym family, they have been there. Sandy Rossi, Rich Wilson,
just a
Jennifer
message from Ed.
Curse. Yes, there you go. Ed, what's up, Ed? They were there not just for this, but they were there for my miscarriage in 2017. They were there for me in 2019 when I went through the cervical. So I can't say enough about my adversary family. I really can't. Jennifer Curse, Tommy Curse. I have friends. I have more friends who are family than I do family that are family. Of course, my mother, we always have to say, thank you, mommy, right? My boss, I can't tell you the nonprofit agency that I work for. My boss, both of my bosses, Tamara, Samantha, have been more like a family to me and we've been together 15 years.
15 years you've been
15
with these
years
same
I've
people,
been
so
with the same people.
They've seen you through it all, through
Yes.
Everything.
Yep, Samantha Johnson, Tamara Williams. There's so many people within my agency, Mary. It has just been, I've never been so grateful in my life. And that's what also gives me hope. That's what keeps you positive, because no one fights anything alone, ever.
So many people commenting and just sharing. Just want to thank all of them. Your story is amazing, and I feel like there's just so many people in today's world who are going through tough times, and they need to see a warrior like yourself, Angela. Somebody out there, they might not be battling cancer, but battling whatever. They might life might have kicked them, man, put them down, and they might be feeling hopeless. Is there anything you would like to tell them, to share with them?
We all fight different demons, different battles. I don't know one person who walks through this life that is free of anything. The one thing I will say is hope is something that I truly believe we're given automatically. The thing that we need to do, and this is what I also had to do myself, is take the time to acknowledge and become more aware of those things that you have, the smallest of things, such as the ability to laugh at a joke, to the larger things, such as waking up in the morning. Those are the kinds of things we have to stop, acknowledge, and become more aware of. Hope is living.
That's amazing because I feel like they're so, and even people who are going through cancer or anything, they need to hear your words and your inspiration. Tell me, and how's it been since going through? Your life has been uprooted with this treatment and stuff. How have you gotten used to going to do these chemotherapies? Tell us what it's like when you go do. You're doing the chemotherapy, the 4th treatment in March. So that's why we had you on right now. Tell us, what's that like if people don't know?
So my very first cancer treatment, because I was on the fence, I kept going back and forth. I don't want to do it, I'm going to do it. I don't want to do it, I'm going to do it. My first one, I came down with some kind of illness. I was sick, having a hard time breathing, and January 5th, immediately after the holidays, doctors, you're not going to be able to get an oncologist on the December 31st. But I went into my first chemo treatment, one by myself, because the new wave of COVID, you can't bring anyone in. So now I'm terrified because I don't know what to expect and I don't have any support. And I'm walking in there sick by myself. And then afterwards, that first session, they hit me with a bomb. And I've never been so sick in my life, to the point where if this is the way it's going to be, I'm not doing chemo. Needless to say, long story short, fast forward, I had my first chemo session with fluid on my lungs. So a couple days after getting the chemo, I'm sick as hell. I have to get my lung drained. And no one warned me what that was like. You're wide awake for that procedure. I thought I was going to get twilight. But next thing I know, and I was sick. I wasn't even standing up straight, walking into the hospital to get my lung drained. And again, COVID. They stopped my mom at the door. They wouldn't let her in. So I went upstairs, and next thing I know, the doctor says, okay, well, swing your legs over the side of the bed. And I'm like, all right, this is new. And they wheel a TV card over to me with some blankets, and they tell me to hold on to the blankets. Next thing you know, they're jabbing me in the back with needles, trying to 2 gallons of fluid, and my lung was partially collapsed. That's what they took. And I got chemo 5 days before that, and I was sick as hell. Second round of chemo was fantastic. Third round, kicked my ass. But there was nothing like that first round.
So you just got through the 3rd round
Yes.
last week, correct?
Tuesday. So it's kind of like, for those who aren't aware, it's a 3-day event for me. So Monday is always lab work. They take 5 tubes of blood and you leave there feeling terrible. Tuesday is my IV chemo. So I'm there for about 3 to 4 hours getting chemo. Wednesday, I have to come back and I get a chemo shot. So come Thursday, I'm pretty much, Thursday afternoon, early evening, I'm pretty much down for the count.
It's just crazy. You're sharing this experience and all this stuff, but I'm like thinking back to your Facebook recent post, and like it was just, like right after this, you're posting these funny posts and memes and all that stuff, and I just it boggles my mind to know how it's amazing that you have that strength just to be able to do that. Maria's so proud of you, sister. John said that.
That's
Maria.
Oh, my baby brother. Love him. Love you guys. But yeah, so the sick things that go through my mind, and it's funny too, because you go into these doctors' offices, right? And they're super. They don't tend to be that funny, and they tend to be, not all of them. I love my Jeff team. Please don't take this out on me. But they have a very dry sense of humor. So when they see me come walking in wearing Golden Girl socks and telling them, what are we doing with Large Marge? And thanks for getting me Hank the Tanks. They're just like, who are you talking about? Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, let's, I have Golden Girl socks up to my knees.
Are you wearing them right now or no?
No.
Forget us, right? We don't matter. Forget Hungry for Hope.
Well, then, I forgot when I went to go get my lung drained, right? I have friends who gave me socks, bright pink socks with the middle finger on it, right? So I was so sick in bed, I put those socks on, I'm not realizing it. I go into and the doctor's looking at my socks, and I said, I'm so sorry. It's not directed towards you. Please don't take this out on me. Please don't.
Maria says, love you, daughter. Lori Wilson says, rock star. Got Robin comment. All you people, thank you for tuning in. And Ryan Tucker, all these people.
Ryan.
Sharing this. Your story is one, like I said, that people need to hear the positivity you've kept through this. Like I said, it's not something you chose or something you did wrong. You were just given this, and it's so easy when bad stuff in our life happens, especially stuff we didn't have nothing to do with, for us just to like stop fighting, for us to have that horrible outlook on life. And I think like anybody going through anything horrible or anything, think life's bad for them, I think they should just look at your story and look at the energy you've been able to have during this time, and they should just realize that, be grateful and try to find that. I know it's hard. People, I've been there, but the positivity can change.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And then you start thinking, who am I, and what kind of memory do I want to leave on people? And the only memory I can really, really kind of hone in on is that, that bitch was funny, So, I mean, I already have 2 obituary cards, right? So I have a regular one, a normal one, and my other one is already pre-planned, picked out. It is the Wicked Witch of the West, her shoes, and the house. I mean, I think it's...
So you already have your obituary cards picked?
I do. And I do. So, so you have a funny card, and, and I just told my 2 closest friends, Sandy and Jen, we were laughing hysterical. I said, I want you coming to my funeral with get well soon balloons. This is what I want, to my funeral, and just tie them up to my index finger.
Sometimes also Thomas Quinn just said, you are truly the best. Love you, Ange. The Trips love you too. Keep kicking ass. Sometimes you forget what you're going through and how serious it is, and then you say something like bitchware and people are like, might laugh, but like, this is a serious thing. This is such something huge that you're battling, and that makes it even that much more amazing, the energy you've been able to keep through this. And you mentioned bitchware and how people want to remember you and stuff. If what do you want someone to say when they mention Angela Melchiorre?
See that? You know what? That's better than any of my teachers who had me for 4 straight years said it. So you went to Sterling. Did well,
you went to Sterling. You're not the best school system.
Well, see, you know what? Listen. I did very well in college, but I told you not to mention Sterling.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Not
horrible.
the people. The people are fantastic. I mean, look, if you look on my Facebook page, everyone I went to school with in Sterling all those years, grades before me, grades after me, with my graduating class, I had posted, and I'm going to shout out to Tara Elizabeth. I had posted months before I made my announcement that I wanted this big love sack. This big, comfy love sack. I mean, the thing is huge. And next thing I know, the diagnosis, everything comes about. Next thing I know, she's walking in with, 4 other people dropping this. I mean, the thing is massive. And that's where I take my naps after chemo. And everyone from Sterling High School had chipped in to do this. And I mean, it's hard for me to talk about those kinds of things because I don't want to ugly cry, because it is not pretty. Doesn't sound pretty. I mean, it's really bad. Everyone will tell you the ugly cry is really bad.
One of the greatest speeches ever. It was always my brother's favorite speech. I'm just thinking of it now. I wasn't thinking of it before. Is Jimmy Vavano. He was a basketball coach, won the NCAA championship. He was dying of cancer, and they gave him the ESPY award. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It was called the Never Give Up speech. He was dying. He was, he had like less than a month to live, and he did everything he could. He put a suit on, and he showed up at the ESPYs award for ESPN, and he had his teammates or his old players actually carry him up to give this speech, just because he knew people needed to hear it. And he gave this speech about cancer can take it can take, I think it's mind, it's all this stuff, but it can't take its spirit. Basically, it's amazing speech about just never giving up. And this was a man who, he knew, he's like, this can't, research and stuff. He's like, it can't save me. I'm on my way out. He knew this, and they say he couldn't get out of bed at all. The strength he had just to do this, and it kind of reminds me of a lot of stuff you're saying and you're going through. That speech, like, has probably saved lives, had gotten people to donate. It's changed the world of cancer. That speech he gave, and when he, it's a miracle that he was able even to give it. But it was just like, never give up. Like, cancer couldn't take his spirit, his laughter. It couldn't defeat that. It couldn't kill that. I see a lot of that in you.
Well, I mean, yeah, because if not, I kind of feel like it's going to take me sooner, if that makes sense. If you give up, you crawl into a ball, I'm sick, I'm this, I'm that. You just going to, you're going to deplete much, much sooner. So, and everyone's like, and people ask me all the time, well, what do you want to do? Because people have bucket lists, right? What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? Who do you want to meet?
You said something about burning a house down or something earlier?
Yeah, so that's like, we can't.
We're going to have to edit that one out.
So we can't really talk, we can't talk about that right now.
Talk about whatever you want. We've said some crazy shit on this show.
Because you know what?
God.
Because when it happens,
I don't know how we
they're going to know it was me. So I have a bucket list of food and snacks.
A bucket of food, like,
yes, because
I'm
for
starving over here. Can you share it with me? Do you have it with you? Can you bring it to the studio?
You were supposed to provide the snacks. I will though. Next time I will, but
it's always next time.
I don't really have a place I want to go. I don't have anyone I want to meet. Really,
right,
save
whatever.
so much.
We don't want to meet you either.
But no, I'm talking about my bucket list. Like, because for years I was on a CrossFit diet. I wouldn't allow myself anything for like 2 decades. I had a Pop-Tart the other day for the first time in like 20 years, and I cried. It was beautiful. I can't believe I haven't allowed myself a Pop-Tart in that long of a period of time.
So is there anything else, like anything on this bucket list or this?
Just food and snacks. Like I'm like spaghetti and meatballs.
Yeah, what kind of food? Let's start
ice
talking.
cream.
How about Philly cheesesteak? You like Philly cheesesteaks?
We're
not allowed to have any food in the studio, unfortunately. But
okay, so
there's no food
we're
rule.
gonna do it.
I'm not saying I'm the reason behind it, but I'm saying, I might have had something to do with it.
So absolutely, we're gonna do cheesesteaks. Yes.
Cheesesteaks. What's your favorite Philly cheesesteak? Do you have a favorite Philly cheesesteak?
I haven't had one in decades.
What kind of person are you? What kind of monster are you?
I was, on a diet for that long, so I can.
We gotta get you a Philly
do the
cheesesteak.
gym.
We gotta get you.
We're gonna do it, yeah. So I mean, maybe I would like to meet Cher because I do a really good Cher impersonation.
Let me hear it.
I know you were gonna say that, so.
You knew I was gonna say it. You know me so good now.
Because I usually prefer to do my Cher impression like full Cher garb, and like kind of.
Did you bring the?
No, I don't have it. No, I don't have it. But I do a really good impression of if I can turn back time.
But is there, the food? Is there anything else, like you felt the need to do since you got this sentence that is such a hard battle?
It's not necessarily need; it's the want. I mean, if I could turn back time, then I would go back to normal, my normal level of CrossFit. I have this port in my chest that restricts me in the gym.
So yeah, you have the port. You actually showed me. You have the port for the chemotherapy. It's in your chest.
Yes.
And the gym and fitness was such a part of your life. You were a CrossFit coach, and you did CrossFit. How's that been? Tell people you've been able to still do a little CrossFit.
Yeah, so I'm just recently started to come back, and every day for me is different. I may wake up tomorrow and feel terrible. I may wake up tomorrow and feel great. The pain is in different areas. The symptoms are different every day. So every day is like, a clusterfuck, like what's coming next. But I'm really restricted when it comes to the port, because any kind of shifting of the port, then I got to go back. They got to surgically remove the port, and the port is surgically placed under your skin in your chest. There's a catheter that goes up through the neck, and it goes all through your chest, into your arteries and stuff, and that's how you get the chemo. So I'm not fully back the way I want to be back in the gym, But I got to do something, especially since I have this food snack bucket list. Next thing you know, I'm going to be 600 pounds and cancerous.
You'll be large
Even more
Marge.
cancer. See? You know what? That's a fantastic idea. I might do that. Challenge accepted. Donnie, challenge it's
We're going to start with cheesesteaks. Angelina's listening. I know she wants a cheesesteak down in the Dallas area. One of our former guests. Awesome kick-ass person. I'm starving right now, but so 2019 you get the cancer, and then you get through that. 2021 you get the lung cancer. You got this chemotherapy. All these battles you've gone through. Even 2017, that's traumatic. Losing a child. All this stuff that you've been able to fight through. Stay positive. Is there one thing that comes to your mind? One thing that these experiences have taught you?
Yeah, one is definitely to allow more people to help me and stop being so stubborn. To give out more hugs, because now I'm kind of restricted. I have to do air hugs, because my immune system and the chemotherapy. But I have a really hard time asking for help when I need it. But definitely, allowing more love and affection into my life. I have a huge heart, but I have a hard time allowing people to do the same for me.
Angelina says, Ange, you got this. Let's get some cheesesteaks together. Angelina was on the show. She's amazing. She's out in Dallas. So
yes, let's do this.
We had her and her brother Jason on the show. Amazing people, the Alaskan Avengers. Shout out to them. But back to you, Angela. Have you noticed since this fight you're putting up, have people that you haven't? I know you said a lot of people reach out. The person you threw up against a locker or something. Have you found you made better relationships with people? You connected with people.
100%. And the one thing that I have to mention is it's really important for me, especially in the beginning stages of this, when you hear months and years, to make peace with myself and to make peace with other people, because I can hold a grudge like the best of them forever. And it has taught me so much to let go of the things that matter and the things that don't. Make peace with people, forgive people, because at the end of the day, none of that matters, but relationships matter. People matter. So it really has taught me to just come to terms with people. I have reached out to people myself and said, I forgive you and I forgive myself for what has transpired, and I apologize, and now we're friends and we speak, and it's good to have that kind of, you want a clear conscience, you want a happy soul, a peaceful soul.
Yeah, it's powerful stuff. Anything other, you mentioned a lot of amazing stuff, any other specific stuff you want to leave people, just some kind of advice you learned? People can be going through hard times, people who just, anything about life, because you're 39, but over these last few years, man, you just lived. It's been amazing what you've been able to do through this, but you went through a lot of traumatic experiences, and I'm sure a lot of times we learn stuff through them. Anything else you want to share with anyone before we get out of here?
You just got to keep going. Once you realize that you and you only control your destiny, your life, then it's all up and running from there.
You touched on this earlier. I know you touched on the question earlier that, the show's all about giving hope to the hopeless. You did mention, we're going to get back to, you did kind of give the definition of hope, but I'm going to ask you one more time, just because that's what our show is, and just put you on the spot again. Our show's all about giving hope to the hopeless. That's where the show started. It started from my hopeless days. And so, Angela, what does hope mean to you?
It's such a challenging question, because to be honest with you, I never really sat and had a deep personal thought process and contemplated hope until right after my first doctor's appointment in November. The doctor was like, "Oh, I'll see you in February." I said, "Oh, so doc, you're saying, I'm going to be around for another couple months?" And he said, "Yeah, there's hope," and that's all I needed. And it reverberated all in my skull. But, like I said, I really think that we all have it in us. And sometimes it takes a really shitty experience to give that push.
It's amazing. Your story's amazing. Thank you for everybody who's tuning in. I shared the GoFundMe. People are helping you. You're going through such a fight right now, and we're all here to support you. I'll post some other stuff online on my Facebook on Hungry for Hope. You can follow us and like us on Facebook. We're on Instagram, Hungry for Hope. I think that's called an underscore or something. I don't know. I'm not that smart. You can go on Apple Podcasts.
He was smart. He was kind. And he was important, Donnie.
You go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all them. Hungry for Hope. We'll have the audio out on this show. Share Angela's story. Angela, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming. It took so much strength for you to share some of the stuff you did.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. This has been top of my bucket snack food list.
Oh, man. Hungry for Hope Nation.
Next time, cheesesteaks.
Hungry for Hope Nation. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for everybody who participated, commented. Thank you for the supports, the shares. Have a great night. See you next Wednesday. We're out of here.
And I make this money, and I make this money. This money is me, this money is everything I do and see. Who